Now you understand what you're getting yourself into, and you have a basic understanding of many terms from the previous lesson. Let's break these down further into understandable segments and also put them into action. Have your pen and paper at the ready, because you're about to gain a much further understanding of the platform and variables cryptocurrencies run on, aka the blockchain. So, in the previous lesson I said cryptocurrencies are almost impossible to be counterfeited. That's because of a complex mathematical security measure called cryptography. Actually, wait. Notice that little camera has returned? Time to take notes. The purpose of cryptography is simple. The data is transmitted in a certain mathematical form, so only the intended reader can open and read the data. Because of cryptocurrency's nature, being transactions made peer-to-peer online, there were originally fears that these payments could be infiltrated or even worse, hacked. Mysterious Bitcoin creator Satoshi understood this concept and introduced the cryptographic security concept signatures to Bitcoin. This is essentially exactly the same as a signature in real life, and exactly how I'll be breaking this down for you. Imagine you sign a piece of paper with your handwritten signature. It essentially has three main factors that make it a valid signature. Verification. This should validate the signature is yours. Replication. It shouldn't be replicated by another individual. Confirmation. Once signed, it should be final. No claiming it was another individual. Without this, it would be meaningless, right? Although in real life, there is still a risk of the signature being duplicated. Digital signatures solve this through a feature called keys. The way cryptocurrencies work is you are provided a public key and a private key for your crypto wallet, with the public key created from the private key via the mathematical equation just stated. As the name states, the public key is what you share with everybody, either for transparency of what's in the wallet or to send and receive transactions to this address. The public key will never technically be linked to your personal details unless you add that information yourself. The private key is then essentially the real key, where the owner of the key has complete access to its designated address and can actually control the funds inside the wallet and more. Just like a key for a safe, if you lose the private key and it lands in another individual's possession, they gain full access to the wallet and funds inside. So in conclusion, every transfer ever made involving cryptocurrencies has been processed through a blockchain. Now, if you're not quite there just yet, let's use a real life example. There are tools available online which allow you to scan every address and transaction made on the blockchain. The crypto you hold can be monitored on its relevant blockchain. So for this example, we will use an Ethereum address, which of course means we need to find this through the Ethereum blockchain. Vice versa, if this was a Bitcoin wallet, we would of course be using the Bitcoin blockchain. By using a site called Etherscan, you can search addresses, transaction IDs, and even specific blocks. So with this Ethereum address being the public key for you all to see, we will enter this into the search bar. Immediately, the entire wallet details are brought up, including F-balance, F-value, a number of transactions made from this address. Scrolling down, you can see this further in depth. With every address, the Ether was sent to and from. The block the transaction was verified on. Amount of Ether sent. The transaction fee paid for the transaction. If you click on the TX hash, you can see each specific transaction's full breakdown. Noticeably the value of the transaction, which is the current value, but if I simply click on it, we can now see the value at the time of sending. If you haven't already realized, it's almost impossible to identify the owner of this wallet because there is no name or single detail identifying this to a certain individual. This is why it's a public key, as the whole world can monitor and track it, but they will never be able to access it or know the real owner, unless they specifically had their name linked to the public key. Even if I click one of the addresses the Ether was sent to, we can go through this exactly the same as the first address and never identify the owner of the wallet. More interesting is the transaction for 9,976 F, which at the time was worth just over $444,000, and right now worth over $3 million in a space of 215 days. You can't get more proof than that. So you can see clearly now, having the public key does give you fair transparency in what you can see. But the private key is what defines us from a viewer of the wallet to the actual owner. The private key, and storing this in the safest way presently known, has been dedicated its own series of lessons in Chapter 5. So once you've actually completed the course, the final chapter is already prepped for you to become unhackable. Until then, you still need to know how it works, right? So picture this. The wallet you've just seen is public and available on the internet for all to see. But we only viewed this through a blockchain explorer, meaning it wasn't actually made on the page we saw. And even if we had the private key, we wouldn't be able to access anything from that site, as it's simply a viewing tool, so to speak. That means this wallet had to have been created somewhere, and as I previously mentioned, the public key we are looking at is actually the result of a mathematical equation based off the creation of the private key. So whatever app, software or place this private key was created is where we can access the public key wallet and its contents, the same way our online banking portal or PayPal has a password, which would only work specifically for that bank or platform. Your private key won't work unless it's on the relevant platform too. This is overall the foundation that makes up cryptocurrencies and their purpose. You can see from these security measures and full transparency of the blockchain why this technology is being developed for the largest corporations in the world. You want to know the best part? This technology will eventually become a standard of society, just like the internet and programming languages used today to create apps and websites. Even better, it will not be fully integrated into society for at least another 5 to 10 years. Your head start is here right now.